Wow, just woke up from a nap. Still waking up. Okay, so we're not done yet. I was thinking about it. There's one other thing I want to do for my hair. This may be a system that just keeps evolving over time, but what I really want to do is make interpolations. So the top face, I want to interpolate to the bottom face. That's the plan. Hello, Nammers. Hello, hello. Excuse me. How's your day going? Oh my god. I'm sleepy. Sleepy. Oh, camera just got yoinked. That's probably what keeps happening, actually. You just wake up too? There. Going good, getting ready for class, Law. Nice. Nice. Me too. Me too. I want to go get some chocolate before class starts. That's the plan. Stream for a little bit, then go get some chocolate. Oh my god. Okay, so we're a strand interpolator. We're gonna change this to strand mesh interpolator. That's really what it should be. Useless name there, but we'll go with that. Okay. And then what we want to do is what we do is this is the UVs thing. So selected. Call this the UV sampler. Which in this case, I'm just going to mute. Never mind. We'll not do that. Don't need them for the moment. I wish I could isolate that a little bit better. That's okay. So, here. In this case, we do delete the faces at the start. And I don't want, I actually don't want that. So, or no, I may come back to that, but instead what we're going to try is here I have all my strands. So I'm going to separate one of them randomly. So go in here, select a point, and then based on the Oh, interesting. I don't have anything to select them with. Hmm. I do still have the island. I go here, and I go to island. X. There. Okay. So I can grab each of these. Interesting. That's the island index. Which we assigned in here, island index, when we split them. I'm actually going to rename this. This should be split island index. And everything in here should be using split island index, if it uses it at all. Okay, good. So, and then we're going to go back into surface attributes. Mesh index is pretty useless. This is literally just the index. So we're going to reuse this, and we'll call this island. Bring it back. And put in mesh island. Okay. So now we have two selections we can make. We can either do the split island index or the island index. Island index gives us the whole thing. So if I have another one of these, as an example, we can select either or. That split island index goes through all of them, in this case in a somewhat random way. Okay, but we just want the island index. We want to grab the whole enchilada. The whole enchilada. And once we do that, we are in the wrong spot. The resampler back over here. Because we can separate the geometry like this. So we got the island. And then I'd like to add there is a straight up interpolate curves option. These are curves at this point. Why is nothing happening? What do I do with this curve? Maybe I do this instead. Guide curves. Base curves that new curves are interpolated between. That sure sounds like what I want. And then first control point positions of new interpolated curves. And these are only the new curves coming out of here, I'm guessing. So we want to join this back in. And then in here, take our split hulls. And in here, we did delete the geometry based on that selection. But instead, I'm going to separate the geometry based on that selection. This. That should work. Face. This is what I had. Yeah, that was working. Separate geometry. Separate the faces based on the selection. Feed in the inverted. As we're separating the selection, we're getting rid of it over here. And on the output, we'll go ahead and name that. The selection being its caps. Hello, welcome back, Pablo. Hi. Is that how I want to do it? Yeah, let's just leave it out for now. Back up. How's your day going, Pablo? How's your character coming along? So you're making a Pokemon? No, what was it? What am I cooking? We're making a hair strand creator. Oh. This. So give it mesh and it makes hair strand. Its topology, it's very good. Well, thanks. But in Blender, you can make hair strands with mesh or with grooms. Like you do this groom system. I don't like it, so I'm making my own system for using mesh because I like this more. We're trying to figure out how to make curves. So what I can do, I think, is we have our guide curves, and then we'll separate geometry again here. This time just the points, and we'll do it based on the index. Should just be points we see now. Can't do anything with nodes. I feel so dumb. It's taken a lot of time to learn. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of stubbornness. My brain melts too. I am the brain melter. Fear me. All right, if the index equals 0, I should have the point, or I should be able to delete geometry that is not this. We go to stats. Do I see any points? Control points. Okay, I should have points now. Then can I feed these into my scale elements? Scale. Get rid of this right now. Step this guy. This guy. It's very useful, but it's also challenging. Hopefully it gets easier with time, either with more resources or stuff like that. I think it's also just something like, not something you have to do. Like we do have a bunch of points here, or in this case, I have 1 point. Because it's literally only index 0. Gotcha. And I don't want index 0. I want endpoint selection. This time I deleted the start, so we'll add in another not Boolean math. Set it to not that. And delete geometry that is not the endpoint. Definitely deleting it. I have it. I delete the tip. Why does that delete more? Okay, I think the faces are the way to go. Or we select curve instance. So we could do this. I think that's kind of being a huge pain right now, so I'm going to undo that. And what we'll do instead is, so we separated the chunk, now we want individual strands. So we'll separate again. But this time our selection will be based on the curve. They share the index. Index and curve. Okay. compare. Why is it multiples? Should just be like 1. Huh. Hello, Popstar. Welcome. Still working away at our hair. Probably be maybe another 2 days till we're actually finished with it. This is a lot harder than I thought. It turns out. But I can see the index. Curve of point. Okay, so this is the wrong thing. Curve index. Spline index. Spline. Line render. There we go. Give me the index. That doesn't help at all. Darn. Hot tea. Drinking some chai tea right now. Look at it. That sounds delicious. Blender, GeoNode, select line index. Okay, then I guess Mesh Island. Try that. It's probably actually what I want. I can see this value right here. Why can't I select it? I literally can see the index.
Hi. So in this tutorial, we'll talk about the spline indexes. Same to the vector. You're going to be able to see change the has a vector is good. This is what is happening. Like this every point. So now let's just go ahead and connect the index output. You're going to see something like this happening. And you're in the comments what you think that can be done with.
Trust it. And do I have to resample it? If I sample it, curve index. This is what I want right here. just a thing. Curve. Curve. Read. Hello, Corner Father. Hello, Stardom. Hello, gamers. Welcome. Oh, I need some eyeball juice, eye drops. I have a question for you, Snardom. Hopefully, you can help me out here. How do I get a curves index? I just want to select one of these. I have mesh island doesn't work. Spline parameter index is just for it's not for that. Maybe I'm on the wrong thing here. Maybe that's what it was. I had it set to separate curve index, spline index. Spline. That's what I'd like, basically. The index is just the top. It's not the top of it there. I just want one of the instances. I can't use the index node for some reason. Oh wait. What that was not working earlier. Never mind. I found it. I just had to tell someone and then it would work. Okay. Um well, no problem. It was all me, baby. So what I want to do is select two of them. Doesn't matter which two right now, but I have two of them. So maybe boot Blender so good things can happen. Good. Just need a little bit of encouragement. So that's interesting. If I scale elements, I use spline parameter index, that's my selection. Can't scale curves. That's so silly. Um, Wouldn't that work? Okay, so let me think for a second. If I had, I don't think this is actually what I want here, where I was grabbing individual strands. My hope was to grab, oh, well, I can always grab the strand opposite, I think. Well, depends on if the index actually goes around in a nice order. So let's see. I turn this off and we go to the index. Do they go in order? They seem to. Sort of. Kind of. Not really. Have you run into any problems with collections in GeoNodes, by the way? Been a while since I used them. In the past, not sure why, I had problems with them for some reason. Right now, no. It's been working really nicely, but I'm only using meshes in my collection, so there's not a lot of complexity or variation with inside the collection. But right now, they seem fine. Okay, I don't think this is what I want here. I'm going to take this. Get rid of this. What I'm going to do instead, we have our objects here. I'm going to set position of each index. So I can move, well, I guess I have to say not on these because I only want to move one of them at a time. There. Boolean math not. And then I can offset it. Nice. Okay, and if I was to take a separate here, a little different, but I took this and put it here. And it doesn't give me anything. Okay. I need to be working on these before they're splines. Yeah. That's the only way as far as I can tell. Because it is really annoying to work with curves. So we'll get rid of those. So mesh to curves, we'll leave over there. Goodbye. And what we'll do instead is separate our geometry here. We're going to do it by named attribute, our island index. So we got this separate island here, which looks good. Oh, I already answered that. So now we have our separate chunk. I would like to be able to select again another selection, this time island, mesh island. Is that what I want? I take tops and just pull each group together. We have a tube. So the goal is I have a tube of mesh. And for each group along the curve, we're going to pull them together so I can fill up the volume of the tube. The tube. So to do that, we do need to separate geometry because I need just the tops. So we'll do endpoint selection. Guess that only works with curves, huh? They should be ordered from top to bottom. But I would have to separate them first by mesh island. There. So basically you want your tube to have a different radius on each point in the curve. I would just like to evenly fill in the tube. So, like if we look at it from the top, I'm gonna take the edge and bring it in with another group. But I want it to, if I had my tube curved, you know, get my tube, we move it. It's all wonky or whatever. I'd like to be able to make sure that none of the interpolated ones I'm making are like outside this. That'd be the goal. Double tube. Oh. Wasn't that funny? Yeah, why am I doing it here? Double tube. Why am I doing it at this point? This is one of the harder spots to do it. Why not just do the mesh? Why do it before anything else? Just take the mesh. And we could do a solidify. Yeah, I could just do a number of shells in whatever direction I want. So it'd be pretty easy to do. I just take the geometry, set position of my geometry based on the normal. And you can take the normal and scale it like this. Join the geometry back together. And right now it's super extreme, but it'd be pretty easy to make it fill in. I mean, it's not ideal. I can do better, but I can do better because I know that I can scale each edge. So in here, when I split the hulls, I create this mask right here. And that's what we use to split the edges. But before we split it, split halls, this is the create column mask. And also sorts it. But then I can set position. No, I can scale elements with a join geometry right here. So I can take my geometry. I can scale the elements of our named attribute as column. Or okay, I want to scale the edges. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, that's what we want to see. That's wrong because we need to Boolean math it to be the opposite selection. So now we're cooking with gas. Now we're cooking with gas because we can go to 0 and it will always be perfectly aligned in these tubes. I don't need to do anything else. Just fucking works. Okay. That's what we want. Nice. The index is way over here. It's not. The only annoying part with this right now is that this also is happening on any of my other edges here. So we're getting another chunk inside here. Which isn't bad. I don't think we'd want it on our strands though. We just want it on our volumes. Anything that has volume. That's something we can detect. Blender, GeoNode, detect water. Detect solid geometry. I guess what there's an option for edge neighbors, something like that. really complete, is it? Number of faces that each edge as they use each edge as one of their sides. Edge, corners of edge. I have to do it before I split everything. But if I am selecting those edges, edge neighbor would work. Because these edges only have one neighbor. These ones have more than one neighbor. So if I take these, we separate the geometry here. I'm just going to go like this really quick. And if they are greater than 0, or equal 1, okay, perfect. Then we can take these ones. Oh. Greater than or equal. So close. These are for points. Edges. Interesting, that gets weird. Because I don't want to split edges. So close. Now it's still, at the moment I take this strip and I cut it, and we move it, even without doing anything, that makes it a lot harder to jumping back down into this. Still gets pretty difficult to work with. There was a way I was selecting. There was a way I was selecting them with the bevel edge. Where was I doing that? It was in my other modifier. The Groom Baker. And here. Here. Bevel edge weight. If okay, we just look at the attribute. And if the maximum is greater than 0, we just swap it. That's what we did. Okay. Rashad, yo, I got a PSA for you and everyone chat. Blender Market is selling AutoWork Pro for free and only for today. Get it while you can. Oh, that's a good one, guys. Definitely send that out there. Actually, let me go ahead and share them in my chat too. Or Blender Market in general. I missed yesterday's. What were the last few ones? Cloudscape? Oh, I would have loved that. Man, I missed quite a few of them. Oh. Pro stuff. Okay. Well, we get the attribute, we go, is it greater than 1? And then we use a switch. Okay. So let's hide that. Back to our nodes here. So what we want is that same one, bevel weight. We want to get a named attribute. We always have access to bevel. We should have access to bevel weight. Or we'll separate. Yeah. Separate geometry based on the selection, named attribute. In that named attribute, we want bevel, weight, edge, cool. Yeah, I'm afraid it's only going to take, it's not going to give us the whole thing. Looks like I grabbed some of the previous ones for free today as well. Oh, really? Snap. I want everything. Oh. Maybe City, creating utilizing asset libraries with Blender. I guess I reached my limit there. Do I want clouds or do I want the other stuff? What did I get? Better lighting, bag of pie. I don't think I'm as interested in bag of pie. I'd rather. Ah, it's a slow website. Oh, okay. I guess just some things. I'll get what I can. Cool. Got. All right, but if these, let's say this one, add bevel weight, yeah, it's only grabbing that edge or those faces. So I can't do it with that. There's got to be a way to tell if it's a closed object. Is that really it? Solid? No. Just make it up. It's a lie. How do I detect if a mesh island is solid geometry? Oh, if an edge has a number other than 2, it is non-manifold. But again, how do I select the whole island once I'm on there? Oh, so close to figuring this out. It's so far. That's what I was using earlier. I was using the edge neighbors. The outside. I would need some way to cycle through each mesh island, looking at it one at a time, going, accumulating a field. And if that field is, so some comparison where I can accumulate the field of the amount of edge neighbors compared to the amount of vertices of total. There's a relationship there that I can exploit. And then either pass it along or we don't. So we'll do this one at a time. So we'll go ahead, move this over. The scaling is super easy, so I'm not too worried about that. That's really straightforward. But what I want to do is another separate for this separate here. Based on mesh island. So. We have the count, and we have the index. So we need a repeat. Node. This is how many times we're going to do it based on the island count. And we'll need a count. Before we do the repeat, let's just do the checking. So we need an accumulate field as well, which for our separated geometry gets our edge neighbors. And we want to switch this along. So, or maybe before we do that, let's test it with a let's test it with a delete. So take our geometry, move this over here. No, we did want to separate it. I just want one chunk, just want one island. We want to compare it. We want to select a specific island. I would like it to be I want it to be this island. Okay. And then when deciding if we delete it, what we want to know is we will use a switch because that'll be a little bit easier to think about. So it either goes through or it doesn't, depending on if the accumulate field, which uses the index, GeoNodes, I love them. Creating primitive and same things, generating loads of stuff. It has never, and I repeat, never been easier to crash Blender with my work. Too true. Oh, too true. Okay. So I think looking at this ChatGPT comment, it definitely hallucinated a bunch of bullshit here. But it does say, check for non-manifold edges. There's a, if we compare the number of faces connected to each edge, if any edge has a number other than 2, it is non-manifold. That's really useful. So if we go through our mesh looking at each edge, number of faces connected to each edge. This is how many count, what the count is. We just need to know how many vertices we have, and it should be verts times 2. If it's less than the number of verts times 2, it's less than the number of verts times 2, then it's non-manifold. That's what we can exploit here. That's the relationship. So we go through all the edges. We need our stats here. So if I get a attribute or vertex, how do I get the total points? Points. Info. Attribute statistic. Yes, float. Point count. Okay, I can get the point count. Again, it's V times 2V. V being the vertices. So we take this math, we multiply it by 2. If our total is less than this, then we switch. This is a field we're getting. Any edge has a number less than other than 2 is non-manifold. Why can't I use this as a comparison? Because this is a switch, and it's a single value. Um, so close. Boolean field. Boolean field. I feel like these should work. I feel like this should work. And I can't properly test it because of the switch. The switch doesn't want to work with the field. How do I connect these two? Do I need this? Do I even need this? Because I have face count right here. Right? And edge count. Yeah, I should just be able to do a comparison here. Right? Yeah, I don't need the accumulate field because looking at our domain, the amount of points means we're giving a true value if it's working. Which means it is working. And if we switch this to this island, it still works. Okay. But I should have everything I need with this domain size node. Should know if it's manifold from this. Not necessarily. Not entirely true. One, 32. How to tell if a mesh is manifold. For a mesh to be manifold, every edge must have exactly two adjacent faces. Okay. Two adjacent faces. So then we don't have to use points. Time for bed for me. Happy noodling and good luck with the project. Thank you, Snardo. We'll catch you later. Enjoy your evening. For a mesh beam, every edge must have two faces. Every edge. So this should equal each other. Again, if this was working, we would not see the strands here. Zero. I feel like I am making the correct comparison. Let me read that again. A mesh is manifold. Clear, define, inside, outside. Manifold mesh is watertight, contains no holes. For a mesh to be manifold, every edge must have exactly two adjacent faces. So if there were two edges. All right, let's say there's in a box. How many edges are there? Boom, boom. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 12. 12 edges. So that means there must be at least, there must equal 24 faces. So if I double this amount, they should be equal. Doubling it, they should be. If this was true, nothing plugged into true, we wouldn't see it. Actually, I'm still switching here. Oh yeah. I should probably just call it here. Still got to teach a whole class tonight. And I'm going insane in the membrane looking at this, trying to figure it out. Okay, let's do more specific. Blender, GeoNode, Manifold. Manifold check.
Good afternoon, fellow geometry fine. The rule.
Is it really that simple where we just say we would just want to delete any island that had edge neighbors of 1. But I can't put it into a switch. Oh my god. Here's for multiple values into a single value, either use attribute statistic. Okay, so gotcha. So we can take the geometry, get our face count, okay, and we have our domain size. And if the minimum, actually no, this is the minimum equals 1, maybe I need to do an accumulate field in here. Index. I'm so close, but so far. The domain statistics really should just be all in. I have the domain size. We feed in the geometry. Like looking at this one, let's just think of a face, right? We just have a plane. Points, we have edges, or we have one face. I think I did my math earlier. Did my math wrong earlier. Because there should always be more edges than faces. That should be pretty obvious. So there's always more edges than faces, which is why we're multiplying it by 2. Okay, well. Let's see. Compare. Face count. Be the same for all of them. Here, okay, cool. Here we got a better view. So here, on our non-manifold one, we can see clearly that there are more edges than faces, which should always be true. So multiplying my edges by 2 definitely doesn't make sense. Need multiply this by 2. And if it's greater than this, so close. Come on, brain. Almost there. Okay. Our edges. And if I switch to one that's normal, there's something we can exploit here. So in one, we have (52) edges, 24 faces. 52 divided by 2 is 26. Okay, and then in 2, our other index, we have 32 and 12. I divide that by 2. 15. Come on, brain. So close. It's staring me right in the face. I know what it is. I feel the shape of it, but I can't say it. So, for both of them, if I divide the amount of edges, a funny way, I don't, the other way around. For every face, there must be, every face needs 3 edges, but, oops. And I would assume for an even larger mesh, we get a larger discrepancy. But it's kind of an odd relationship because, for a face, we have 4 edges. But for a mesh, those edges are shared. So there's always kind of this offset of like 2, at least. Because if we have one face, 4 edges, and then we make another face next to it, and they share that edge, then that's only 3, 6, 7 edges. And so it's an odd scaling. Let me go to ChatGPT again. If I had a mesh and only the info, the face count and the edge count, could I determine? Turn mesh manifold using only the edge count and face count by applying Euler's characteristic from polyhedra. Number of vertices, edges, and faces in a manifold mesh. For a closed manifold mesh, Euler's formula is V minus E plus F equals 2. Well, I do have it, so so cool. So V subtract minus F, no, V minus E, perfect, plus F. Should equal 2. False. Point count, so P minus edges plus faces equals 2. Ah. Wait. Which this should not be. This one should not. Let me see if I go over here. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. And that. Okay, so. So Euler polyhedron formula. It always equals 2. Oh. Well, if it's true, it should go through. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Wrong side of this. Separate out the island. Always false. Why? 52, 28. Well, let's see. I can just go here to see the result. 0. F equals 2. For solid shapes, especially polyhedra, the sum of the faces and vertices will be 2 more than their edges. Sum of the faces and vertices will be 2 more than the edges. Faces plus vertices minus edges is 2. Did I do that? Am I looking at the wrong formula? So faces plus vertices minus edges should equal 2. Why? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so it's not triangulating them in any way. Oh, but this is for polyhedron. Let's see, manifold. This is. I guess this is technically correct. Order of operations doesn't matter in subtraction and addition, but definitely feels incorrect. I go over this one, 0. There's nothing coming through extra. I mean, this is cheating, but I can just move it down 1 since it's just offset by 1. I don't know why it's offset by 1. Unless the point count is indexed. That would do it. Unless they're all indexed. Oh, that's probably what it is. I think it'd give me a total, but I guess that works. Okay. For some reason it's offset by 1. I don't know exactly why that is, but it does work. Oh! Math. By the power of math. Okay. That really hurt my brain. It must be because it's indexed. So, okay. Well, that's really cool. Because now I know which ones I can which ones are volumes. Cool. And I think I would want to switch this to less than or equal, or greater than or equal. Because potentially I may have more faces. I wonder if this, well, no, it won't work if I delete the tops and bottoms, so. Oh, they are deleted. Of course. Of course. I separated them before. Ah. Oh, I can't believe I forgot about that. I was checking if they're manifold, and they're not manifold at all. Oh my god. Okay. The very beginning they're manifold, but then I separate them. Okay. Well, glad we figured that out. But now what I'd like to do, okay, we only got another 40 minutes, but I want to take this and repeat it here, especially the separating. Don't need this right now, but I do want to do this. Okay, so all this is going to go into a node, which we'll call manifold, or manifold check. It's one. It's busted. And we're going to repeat it. So we take in the geometry here. Like this. I'm having trouble with the hair on my class model. Any tips for making sharp seams and points when it comes to having a sub-D modifier on? Yes. So the main things you can do to make things sharp with a subdiv is the crease and then a vertex crease. So if I go to an edge here, vertex crease is what you'll need to make them actually pointy. So for example, this edge, I vertex crease it, it's going to actually be pointy. They only added this in one of the Blender 3s. So it's not, if you're in an older version of Blender, I don't think you are, but it is a newer feature, quotation marks. and then just the edge crease, like what you did to sharpen up the lips. All right, so we have our count. This is how many times we want to go through it. Right. Do statistic. Max. Why do I need to do that workaround? Okay. That's how many times we want to go through it, which I believe in this case is 3 because we have 3 islands. Nice. And then we'll need a count on our GeoNode. Do an integer and take the integer and we do math on it. We do math on it. We add 1 every time. So it starts at 0, which we want because we're indexing. And we want the island index to match the count. And that's the one we grab. And this geometry is what we grab. Awesome. And so it's only those ones that we feed into our scaling. So we only scale those. Actually, no. Get rid of that one. And then just join the original. Wow. That was really challenging. That was really hard. Math is hard, y'all. I don't know if anyone's ever said that before, but my brain. Cool. First to say math is hard. The very first one. No one has ever said this before. Math is hard. Oh boy. But I am quite proud of that. I am quite proud of that. Ugh. Excuse me. Now we'll also want to do a repeat node for our for the scaling here. So we'll want to scale this a number of times, specifically a group input number of times. We'll just use an integer for right now while we're testing. No, we'll use a duplicate. Use a duplicate. That'll be a little bit easier. Duplicate the elements this many times. Start with 1 and 2, and then we use that integer to determine the scale. Or no, we use the, well, we do use that, but we take the amount we have and we divide it by the index. So it starts with 0, then 1, then 2. We're going to go the other way, don't we? We need to add 1 to this, I think. Because it's an index, so we'll have to add 1, so it's not starting at 0. We can't divide by 0, as it turns out. So I'm going to do a shell 2 times, and then we want to scale the elements by that amount. Duplicate. In this case, we have 3. Just do 6 of them. Hello, Saber. Welcome. Oh, that won't quite work. We have to scale. We have to scale them one at a time while they're separate before we've joined them all together. Okay, we might have to save that for later. My brain's turning off. My brain hurts. My brain hurts. Do I have mods? Mods for... Good VR chat stream. Indeed. Right now we're in Blender, and I'm making... Alright, I'm about to ban you, Maffin. But I make VR chat avatars, and I'm making a hair system that I use on my VR chat avatars. Like moderators. I have a few. It's a pretty small stream, so it's pretty inactive. For the most part, it's more of a technical stream. We do a lot of making things for VR chat or Resonite or other VR platforms. All right, now I've been working on a hair system in Blender so I can make hair strands, put a bunch of hair on them, and then bake them out onto my characters so I can bring them in Blender. So this goes through and does a little manifold thing. So it takes them all and it checks. Are you manifold? Yes or no? And we're checking all of them. That's the reason we're doing it this way. So when we bring it in. Hey, brother, you don't have to use the gun. Bang, bang. Blender's good. But what about vacuum cleaner? I just bought one. It's not a very good vacuum cleaner. It was really tough vacuuming the rug here. Namor's resorts to violence. Violence! Okay. The manifold check. Let's frame this. Bam. Hey! We learned it from you. Hell, hey there, Wendy. Bonk Boy Zero, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Hello, hello. We're deep in the bowels of a geometry nodes graph. So, not the most exciting stream at the moment, but we're getting through it. But welcome, welcome. But soon I'll be able to make hair real fast. Call this manifold check. I guess I don't need to repeat it here. Well, if I repeat it right now when it's coming in, we take the geometry, we get one of the islands, and we look at it. We have our island, and we go, is it manifold? Yes or no? And if it is manifold, then we would like to do this, where we make the shells, we make the little interior hairs in here. That's what we want to do. That's what we do. So take the chunk, we look at it, we double check if it's manifold, and then we would want to do the scaling right here. So now I'm doing it. Oh no, I take that back. It doesn't matter because we have the mask. Because of the mask, it doesn't matter at all. That's right. Because it just looks at each of these little sections. Yeah, pretty sure. Let me just, yeah, if it wasn't working, it wouldn't work right now. Okay, good. Again, overly complicated in my head. It is working. All right. We don't have to do anything crazy. We got this working well. Yay. All right. Oh, I'm mathed out, y'all. My brain has had too much math. I don't need that. What I want is to look at this integer. In the integer, we duplicate the shells multiple times, and then we scale each duplicate So the scale's already 1, right? So it's a range of 0 to 1. 0 to 1. When we get the index, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever. So we'd want to know how much each one increments. So we get the total, just get the total, and we divide it by, we get 1, and we divide it by the total. And that is our increment amount. That's how much we can do it by. So first, do this, set it to 1, and we divide 1 by our integer amount. Then here, we would probably want to use a multiply. We multiply this value, but we do need an add as well. We need to add 1 because the index starts at 0. 0, 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. But now, for each of these, we've got the thing. We've got the thing. So for example, if we're on index 2, then it should be 1 divided by 6 times second duplicate should be some decimal value or something like that. So then we can plug it into our scale. This isn't working because we are not duplicating right now. So we need to, that's the wrong curve. We need to put our geo in there and our geo out here. And we need a, so we're scaling the elements. We need a Boolean math because it should be a mask column and it should be the index. This is correct right here. All right, another 20 minutes, but this right here is correct. Our little calculation, which is our increment. This works. Increment. I gotta go. Hope you the best. Best of math. Thank you. Thank you. Can I just multiply the duplicate index by itself? Right? Just take this, do this, and then plug it into that selection and that scale. Wouldn't that work? Wouldn't that work? I don't see anything right now. I don't really see anything at all. Are we going to be doing more UV before the rigging, like you said, or should we have it all done and mapped before class? No, you do not have to have everything finished at the moment. rigging and UV mapping can happen at the same time. But we won't be using AutoRig Pro. We're going to be making a skeleton from scratch. So it should be fun. Gotta go. Hope you the best with the best. Thank you, Corn. Enjoy your day. Thank you for coming by. Hope you have a good evening. Probably get into this tomorrow and know immediately what to do. My brain's already mathed. It's math. Math its last math. Oh. I don't need to duplicate. I think a repeat node is actually better here. It's a little simpler. All we do, another little repeat node, and we say join geometry. Take this, we scale it a slightly different amount based on the count. An integer. Then we add 1, 2, so we can keep track of what's going on. And we'll do 6 iterations. I haven't seen the class thing before. When did you start? I started last week, actually, last Wednesday. So it's been 1 week of class, and I'll be doing a lot more classes soon. My hope is by 2 weeks from now, we'll be starting basically 3 classes. So it's going to get busy. But we're going to do 2 more intro classes at different time zones, and then an advanced class for avatar creation. So if you're interested, there are definitely many opportunities to hop in. But yeah, I think it'll probably be my my bread and butter, so to speak, moving forward. My bread and butter. There we go. There we go. Yeah, the repeat node is way easier to manage here. I really shouldn't have hesitated on using it. Duplicate's nice, but the selecting things gets a little confusing. Instant class before when you start. I'm liking and spending cash. Definitely keep it in mind. Please do. Please do. I always share stuff here on the stream, but I think there's so much to go through. It's nice to have a kind of specific place and help people with it. I'm excited because it'll be fun to have like a at the end of the class we'll probably do like a class graduation photo. I'm kind of excited for that as everyone's avatars. More chance for one-on-one help and stuff. Exactly. All right, but look at that. Now we can fill in our hair tufts. A hair tuften. In fact, I want to see. How this works on the punk hair. That might look kind of interesting. Oh, it's not going to look like anything. Or no, it will look like some very full hair. Okay, here's my progress on my hair baker. Gotta head off. I'm sure you'll be stopping soon. Anyway, gotta do some errands, things and such. Sounds good, Wendy. We'll catch you later. And yeah, I'll probably be ending the stream very soon. I need to go get some candy or something. Get my energy level up. Have a good evening. Hope class goes well. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. And we'll see you tomorrow or maybe Friday. I'll be here the rest of the week. Oh, why would it make it bigger? Because it's broken. That's not group. But input. Input. It should go right here. Thank you. Default 0. And what is it right now? 0. 1. Okay. Right now there's just so much extra geometry, it's really hard to see what's going on, but we're making volume strands inside the volume to fill it in. We just need to add it to our input. Boom. And we'll call this volume string. Volume strand amount. And it's a float, so you can put it on your island. Control it via an attribute. Should be able to. It's an integer right now. Should be a float. All right, let's call it here. I'm exhausted and I need to go get some food in me or something and get prepped for class. For any students out there, I will be back in an hour and we'll get the class started. Again, we're going to be doing some rigging today and reviewing of where everyone's at. And thank you all for hanging out with me. I know it was a very boring stream, just me being frustrated at a bunch of noodles, but it's part of the job. Noodle anger. So thank you all for hanging out. I will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye, everyone. See you in just a moment. Bye-bye. Bye.